Welcome to Interludes with Chris Mackenzie. And once again, we have been extremely lucky at Golden Days Radio to have that marvellous man in the studio to do another talk with us. Ernie Bourne.
I'm back.
It's wonderful, star of stage, screen,
you were waving your
TV.
arms about just now, and sorry, I interrupted you, but
That's okay.
that's okay. So I saw that thing on television just recently on Charlie Chaplin. Mm-hmm. Did you see that on Charlie Chaplin?
I missed that. I would like to have seen. Was it wonderful?
I taped it. I've got it. Oh
Have
yeah,
you?
tremendous.
I want it. I want to borrow it, please.
Oh, okay. I
Okay.
was getting a bit worried then. So, anyway. Oh, God. That's just one of these things. Where was I? Oh, I know what I'm saying. All those Hitler blokes, you know, they used to put their hand up like that,
Yes,
saluting.
yes.
I always worked it out when I was a kid that when they did that, they were suffering with BO. That's what it was. And they lifted their arms up so they could let the air into their armpits. That's what I thought when I was a child. Do you know what? Before we go into the show business thing, I want to digress a bit about something in the Navy that I forgot to tell you about. One of the ships I was on, and we had sort of a bit of a mutiny sort of thing because the food being so, given to the crew wasn't good. And the reason was that the chief steward who was in charge of all that was selling most of the food on black market. And there was a heck of a row about it because I remember the skipper standing on the bridge with a stripped Lewis machine gun under his arm, talking to the crew, down on the hull, saying, say what you have to say and all that sort. I just stood back. I was only a young kid, so I thought I'd pop that in just as we're passing. Anyway, we left when I was doing.
No. Did you really mutiny?
No, it was like that. There was going to be a court case apparently.
And how was it resolved?
I don't know because I didn't have to go to court. I mean, that's making you feel awful because you sort of sagged then when you said
Yes.
that.
Well, I thought you might have an answer.
No, I didn't have an answer, unfortunately, because I left because I was underage and I went with another ship, you see. So, excuse me.
That's a fantastic story.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I wish I hadn't said anything about it. But
yes, but
going back to the IMT days, I was doing IMT for quite a long time and 2 years. And I told you about buying a new suit, and we went round to the Richmond bars for some publicity shots. And my mouth's not working too well this morning. I don't know why. I think I've got my teeth in upside down. Did you hear about the fellow who put his teeth in upside down?
No, what happened?
Chewed the top of his head off. Anyway, I think one of these teeth, I'm breaking them in for a friend. I think I'm not too sure. Anyway, so we went to the bars to do these publicity things, and I got the giggles this morning. And when I came back after doing some swimming and stuff, someone stole my suit. I didn't have a suit to go home in, which was a bit much. I said, I'm not going to run behind a bus or something like this if you don't mind. No, they got me home, all right. That was all right. Anyway, the thing was that I decided that I was going to leave Channel 9 because I wanted to get back on stage because I felt that working in television for a couple of years, your timing's okay, but it doesn't sort of work the same as what it would be on stage. So I wanted to get back on stage again. So I auditioned for a play called The Amorous Prawn for Williamson's, and I started, rehearsals for that.
So who else was in that? Can you remember?
Gloria Dawn. A brilliant woman. Brilliant she is, Gloria Dawn. She would have gone so big in the States. She was so funny, that lady. Do you know what? She would never come and if she had to make an entrance, she wouldn't stand outside the door of the set. She'd walk from the dressing room, down the passageway, through another door, across the stage, open the door, and onto the set. All used to time it that way, and you think, I wonder if she's going to make it tonight, It was one of those things. There was Gloria Dawn, there was Monica Moran, there was Michael Shepley, an English actor who did a lot of films, like The Chiltern Hundreds and things like that. He and Eileen Peel was playing his wife.
And was it playing here in Melbourne? Or
they played here. We played here and toured with it, and unfortunately, she used to imbibe a bit with, I shouldn't say this, but she did, now and again have a little sip. And she had a line one night where she had to say, my darling, when we retire from the army, I would like that house in Dorset. And this night it came out, I would like that house in Dorset, you see. And then when the next night she came out with it, she said, I want that horse in Dorset. So, and he went, but it's an amazing thing with that particular play, because Michael Shepley, before he came from England to do the play, he'd had cancer of the throat, and it was in remission, but then it started flaring up again. And you talk about truth in the theatre, but the last performance before he left, because he died a week later. The last performance before he left, he had a line when we were all lined up as the army blokes, because he was the Lieutenant General of Northwestern Command, and he said he was going off to the Azores to watch some rocket testing, and he had this line where he had to say, and when I return, I want to see the same standard of cleanliness that's always been the hallmark of this establishment. And when he started saying that, he stopped dead in his tracks, and he said, and when I return, and tears started trickling down his face.
Uh-oh.
And I want to see the same standard of cleanliness. And he sort of paused. There was that pause, and it was so electrifying, the whole thing.
Ooh, yes.
And then we marched off, and the two girls in the show, they were sobbing. I said, look, we got to keep calm with this, because you'll be off in a minute. And he came off and he's apologizing, and I said, oh, look, don't worry about it. It's not an easy speech, all that, and everything. And he was a funny bloke. I mean, then that night he did comedy like you couldn't believe what he was doing. He was like a man inspired. He was getting laughs and not saying a word. It was one of those incredible things. And the crew were watching him from the wings. Everybody was watching him, and to get this sort of
and everybody knew it was.
Well, yeah, we knew how bad he was. I mean, the thing is that whiskey used to relieve the pain. So he had a scene in the play where he had to ask one of the Americans if they'd like a drink. And he used to pick up, he said, now, Mr. Golinsky, would you like a whiskey? He said, I recommend this. It's about 69, I recommend this. He said, you can have it on the rocks. Or you can, he's doing an ad, because he was getting it for nothing. And I used to laugh. I used to think, my goodness me. I think it was marvellous, this man. And I've still got the telegram you sent from the airport to the company saying thank you very much for all you've done. And the three of us, there was Terry McDermott, Joe McCormick, and myself, were sharing a dressing room, and we decided that we'd buy him a whiskey flask to take with him on the plane. And there was this little knock on the door, and he came. He said, "Look, I didn't know what to say here." He said, "For giving this," and he was so grateful. So grateful.
Lovely. So,
anyway, he left the play, and we left Australia, and he died a week later. But it was
sad.
Oh yeah, it was sad.
But good show, but sad.
But yeah, but we had a lot of funny things happening in it.
What happened after the prawn?
Well, after the prawn, that sounds funny. I stayed in Sydney, and I thought I'd stay up there for a while. And excuse me. And they were opening a music hall over in Neutral Bay, and so I already knew Philip Stainton down here because he had a music hall down here. And of course, Philip Stainton passed on. He was grossly overweight, and people threw things at him during East Lynn, and they were going to put East Lynn on again in Sydney. So they asked me if I'd play his parts. I said, yeah, okay. So I played 3 parts in it in the music hall over in Neutral Bay, and what a night that was.
You must have had fun doing that.
Oh, but I've never seen so many drunk people all my life. They threw everything on stage, everything. I had lived for about 5 minutes, and I'd lost the plot completely, but it didn't matter. And I had one of the parts that I was playing was Lord Mount Severn. I say, "Oh, Isabel, and you the daughter of a Hehr. How could you be so soppy?" And then every now and again I used to say this, you see, and then the audience used to join in, and everybody go, "Oh, Isabel," and I'd stop and let them go. I said, "Is this a rehearsal? You're going to do it a bit better than that." we'll carry on and do it then, you know. And poor Prunag Glynn, who, when she took her glasses off, she couldn't see a thing. And she picked up this, hello George, picked this baby up, which was a doll, but she had it the wrong way around.
Uh-oh.
And she's talking to the wrong end, you see. And she didn't realise what she was doing because she thought because she couldn't see, you see. Which is the thing. And who else was in that? Let me think. Barry Creighton.
Yes.
He played Barry Creighton, who's in America now. I think he's doing lots of writing, isn't he? Because he's a friend of yours. That's right, Barry. I always remember one of his ad-libs, which was, I thought, was a well, it was a serious thing in the sense, but it was a funny situation. And the reason was the maid came on to talk to Barry, who was the villain. And of course he's saying, hello, my dear, you know, and all that sort of thing. You know, meet me by the gas pipe or something. Anyway, so... that's Charles Boyer, he said that, didn't he? Meet me by the gas pipe. Anyway, and someone threw a lobster at this girl and hit her right in the nose and split her nose open. And she's got all this mayonnaise. And he looked at her and he said, what lovely mayonnaise you're wearing this evening. It doesn't have short face. And he's limbing his head off there. I was standing in the wings laughing my head off because I thought it was quite funny. And he's a clever bloke, though.
She probably didn't think it was funny. Now, listen, Ernie.
Well, yes, sorry.
We're going to play you a piece of music now that we've chosen for you.
Oh, okay.
Not that you've chosen, because we've chosen it especially for you.
Yes.
So listen, please, and enjoy.
All right.
Okay?
Fine.
Let's go.
You could hear the hoofbeats pound as they raced across the ground, and the clatter of the wheels as they spun round and round. And he galloped into Market Street, his badge upon his chest. His name was Ernie, and he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie loved a widow, a lady known as Sue. She lived all alone in Lily Lane at number 22. They said she was too good for him, she was haughty, proud and chic. But Ernie got his cocoa there 3 times every week. They called him Ernie. Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. She said she'd like to bathe in milk. He said, all right, sweetheart. And when he'd finished work one night, he loaded up the cart. He said, you want it pasteurised, 'cause pasteurised is best. She says, Ernie, I'll be happy if it comes up to me chest. That tickled old Ernie. Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie had a rival, an evil-looking man, called Two-Ton Ted from Teddington, and he drove the baker's van. He tempted her with his treacle tarts and his tasty oatmeal bread, and when she seen the size of his hot meat pies, it very near turned her head. She nearly swooned at his macaroon, and he said, now if you treat me right, you'll have hot rolls every morning and crumpets every night. He knew once she sampled his layer cake, he'd have his wicked way, and all Ernie had to offer was a pint of milk a day. Poor Ernie! Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. One lunchtime, Ted saw Ernie's horse and cart outside her door. It drove him mad to find it was still there at 4:30. And as he leapt down from his van, hot blood to his veins did course, and he went across to Ernie's cart, and he didn't half kick his horse, whose name was Trigger. Trigger! And he pulled the fastest milk cart in the West. Now Ernie rushed out into the street, his gold top in his hand. He said, if you want to marry Susie, you fight for her like a man. Oh, why don't we play cards for her, he sneeringly replied. And just to make it interesting, we'll have a shilling on the side. Now Ernie dragged him from his van, and beneath the blazing sun, they stood there face to face, and Ted went for his bun. But Ernie was too quick, things didn't go the way Ted planned, and a strawberry-flavoured yoghurt sent it spinning from his hand. Now Susie ran between them and tried to keep them apart. And Ernie pushed her aside, and a rock cake caught him underneath his arch. And he looked up in pained surprise, and the concrete hardened crust of a stale pork pie caught him in the eye, and Ernie bit the dust. Poor Ernie! Ernie! And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West. Ernie was only 52. He didn't want to die. And now he's gone to make deliveries in that milk round in the sky, where the customers are angels and ferocious dogs are banned. and a milkman's life is full of fun in that fairy dairy land. But a woman's needs are manifold, and so she married Ted. But strange things happened on their wedding night as they lay in their bed. Was that the trees a-rustling, or the hinges of the gate? Or Ernie's ghostly gold tops a-rattling in their crate? They won't forget Ernie!
Ernie!
And he drove the fastest milk cart in the West!
Isn't it
I
wonderful?
tell you what, that's very good, that is.
How long is it since you've heard that?
Oh, ages. It's really ages. Actually, it just brought back some memories. Of,
I'm not surprised.
Of villages in England. You know, I mean, there was a local flower show, and there was one man there that always got the award for the longest beans.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked him, how come you have such long beans? And he said, I go out and stroke them every morning. He said, what? He did. He used to, sorry, look at me. He used to grab them with thumb and forefinger, and he'd stroke the beans. And that's how he used to do it. He used to stroke his beans every morning. So
Oh, there you are. People do talk to their plants, you know, and
Do
play
they?
music to plants, especially.
Oh,
They're
okay.
supposed to work
Is that
better.
true?
Yes.
what effect does that have on them?
Well, I don't know. You could ask Prince Charles, because he's one of them. He really does.
Does he?
Yes. Oh, he believes
Is that song like I Talk to the Trees? Is that sort of...
But it's, yeah, probably originated there.
Okay. Well, Prince Charles, yeah. Yes. Actually, I've got a couple of photographs at home of my daughter talking, or him talking to my daughter, when he came backstage to join the show. Anyway,
Okay.
after when I finished doing the musical in Sydney, and I came down to audition and also do the Desert Song, which I probably
The Desert Song?
yeah, did I mention? Well, the Desert Song was that was going to be done by the Williamsons and the National Theatre, and we were going to open in the Palais down in St Kilda, and I was going to play Benjamin Kidd, the reporter, and I had to ride a donkey on stage. And now, just a minute, Donna, just a minute. And this donkey, what I was wearing was a jalaba, and underneath my jalaba I had a pair of shorts on, which had lots of little eyes on, you know, like pheasant's eyes, because that used to do a tango for a bit of comedy. And they said, well, look, you better get used to riding this donkey, so get him outside and go up and down the footpath for a few times to see how it go. I was at Luna Park, but that didn't do the donkey any good at all. That's just all that noise. But it had a very sharp back, which was didn't do me any good anyway. So Dr. Schilberger was conducting the Victorian Symphony Orchestra, and I had this jalaba, which is like a tent that goes right down to the ground, like a kaftan type of thing, with the Egyptian things on the front. One of that sort of a star and a moon, half moon, and a fez. And it cut on it, and the music cue came, and I sort of tried to get it going, because they've been feeding it with apples and all sorts of stuff, trying to keep it quiet, you know. But it wouldn't move. This one, like that, you see. And I tried to get it going again, it wouldn't move. And the two music cues had already gone. They repeated the music cues. I hadn't arrived on stage. So Ormond Douglas was standing there, and he said, I'll get it to going. And he grabbed it where its tail joins its bottom and give it a couple of squeezes, and it went, and off it took, and it shot right the corner, and it's heading for the footlights. And I'm saying, whoa, 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 whoa. It excited this animal, something awful. But nobody noticed until I got off it. And I'm not saying any more, use your imagination. And General Birabeau came and he said, did you ever go through the desert? I said, oh, yeah. Oh, yes, I did. And all the girls are laughing, in the orchestra people were laughing. I thought, I didn't realize what they were laughing at, but he had to say to me, take it to the stables. And as the show progressed, the animal got used to going off. But the trouble was, he started moving off before he said the line, take it to the stables. And I'm hanging onto it, trying to stop it from going, and it's dragging me across the stage, and he's saying, take it to the stable. I said, yeah. And I said, I used to call it sorbent. Anyway, there was some funny things happening in that show because she had to get the pass through the riff lines, and I said to her this night, I said, look, give me, I won't let you go through the riff lines. I'll do it. And I took the thing from her. The knob shot off of this scroll and hit the timpani and went boing, 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 boing. So I started singing A Star Fell from Heaven, which was nothing to do with anything at all. Anyway, that was a bit of fun. And John Larson, who was the tenor playing the Red Shadow, he had to ride this Palomino up a ramp that went from behind the rocks, as it were. And the trouble was with the horse making so much noise with its hooves, it was banging through the microphone. So they decided they put some boots on it, you see, which I don't think was a good idea. And it slipped off, that fell off the ramp one night with him, and he was underneath the horse, but he didn't get hurt. That was all right. But when we went to Sydney, they said, when I arrived there for rehearsals in Her Majesty's Theatre up there, they said, look, we couldn't get a donkey, but we got a mule. So I went in there and I said, he's a big animal. He said, yeah, but don't stand behind him because he'll kick you. I said, you gotta be kidding. I'm not riding that on stage. He said, try it out. Excuse me. So I got on it and it slammed me into the wall. I said, I'm not riding on stage. So they decided then they'd get something else, but they eventually got something, and it was a Shetland pony. They put false ears on it.
Oh. I hate to ask you, but was this meant to be a comedy?
Well, not really.
Does it sound...
Well, I suppose so. But you see, the trouble was when we got onto the donkey pig rooted on stage, like all four legs moving, and it shook its head, and then these ears that were all slipped down. I'm looking at an animal with 4 ears. I can't remember the comment I made on that, but oh well, it was quite funny, really.
I think we're going to have to play a piece of music which appears to be rather appropriate at this particular moment. We're playing Ain't Misbehavin', which is what you do all the time.
I don't really know.
No. Oh, you really? Okay, well, let's go.
Okay.
To talk with, all by myself, no one to walk with, I'm happy on a shelf, misbehaving, save my love, oh, anxiety, no forsaking, the one I love, I'm through with flirting, you that I'm thinking of, misbehaving, oh, yeah, like Jack Horner, in a corner, don't go nowhere, and I don't care. All your kisses were they waiting for me. Leave me. I don't stay out late, don't care to go. I'm home about 8, me and my radio. I'm misbehaving, take it from me on.
Ain't Misbehavin', and the great Louis Armstrong. What a man.
Oh,
what
terrific,
music, isn't it?
terrific, yeah.
Wonderful. Ernie,
Yeah.
we've giggled our way basically to a standstill. We're running out of time.
Ah, what a shame.
Now listen, will you come back and do another one?
Yes, certainly.
Oh, yippee! Good. As soon as possible. That'll be wonderful. Look forward to
Okay.
seeing you again.
Bless your heart.
Okay, terrific. Bye-bye for now. You'll be listening to Interludes with Chris Mackenzie.